Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest-running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum, brought to you by... Get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
Good afternoon, Stuart. Frank Mezzapel here, waiting for the high school students to work their way in. Of course, they are on spring break, so we understand if they're stuck in traffic and working their way here. But in the meantime, I've got... Miss Lyons, Charlotte Lyons, right? From the Charlene Lyons from the from the YMCA Easter House. She's on the phone with us. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Are you on a speakerphone or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just a little,
okay.
Yeah. But anyways, so I wanted our listeners to, if they missed the opportunity to hear you this morning during the morning show with Mike Thomas, to learn more about the Easter House project and what's all involved with the YMCA Easter House.
So the YMCA Easter House, this is our 31st year, and each year, the Thursday before Easter, we raffle off a house.
An entire house?
An entire house.
Wow, with all the trimmings, right?
Well, not with the contents, but, sinks and refrigerators and that sort of thing.
Yeah. They just have to bring in your own your own furnishings. And
that's right.
Yeah.
Bring your own recliner.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
And where is this Easter house? Now, they're not always in the same place, right?
That's right.
They're all over.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are the YMCA of the Treasure Coast, we've had houses anywhere from Stewart all the way up to Vero Beach. And this year we're in Western Martin County out in Indiantown.
Okay.
In the Sandy Oaks development.
Sandy Oaks. So describe the Easter house for us this year.
So it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage house. Granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, really nice cabinetry inside the house. Villa Franca is our builder, and so they really pay attention to all of the details.
Yeah. Now talk about a little bit, and I know this morning you mentioned a little bit about the cabinet doors. These are not just your regular cabinet doors,
They're
right?
not just your regular drawers and cabinets. It has a soft close, so you can try to be angry and slam the doors, but they just won't allow it.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't have it at my house. I wish that I did.
But we have the technology. You can always do it later,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. An upgrade.
Or you can buy the winning ticket for
That's
the
right.
YMCA Easter house, and
That's
then
right.
you don't have to worry about it.
$10.
Right.
You can have soft closed drawers.
Wow. So describe the neighborhood where the house is.
So Sandy Oaks is a new development in Indiantown.
Mm-hmm.
It is a homeowners association, so it's a really nice neighborhood. Behind the house, there's a preserve area. So this particular Easter house this year isn't going to have neighbors behind it. There are neighbors on each side with similar homes to the house that is already there.
So it fits in the neighborhood, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's in the neighborhood.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what else to say about the neighborhood. It's a really, really nice neighborhood.
Great. How long does it take to drive there from Stewart?
It takes me about 15 minutes.
All right.
Because it's a straight shot. There aren't any stoplights after Locks Road.
Right. Yeah, you just kind of zip on over.
That's right.
Okay, and the address is, because you're going to be there this weekend, right?
I will be there tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to come by and check out the drawers, it's 14775 Southwest Cherokee Drive in Indiantown.
All right, and they can buy the tickets online as well, right?
Tickets are available online at the house at all of our YMCA branches, as well as we have a toll-free number, 877-WIN-YMCA.
Okay. So,
That's right.
so how many tickets are sold?
Right now we have about 35,000 tickets sold.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. And they're only $10, but it's
Only
more than
$10.
just the house that's available with these tickets, right? As I understand it.
That's right. We have a second prize. So for every purchase of 3 tickets, you're automatically given a second prize ticket for a 2017 Harley-Davidson Sportster.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Candy
pretty.
apple red,
Wow.
sparkly, really, really nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
We
is there a
also
third prize? Yes.
just started our late incentive prize.
Okay.
So for every purchase of at least 1 ticket, you're entered into a drawing for $2,500. And
Wow.
that drawing will take place on March 29th.
All right. It's not a bad consolation prize if you don't win the house.
That's right.
Wow. $2,500 for only a $10 investment. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And you say this is the 31st year.
Yes, this is our 31st house.
Wow. And what is the where do the funds go that you raise? How does that work?
That is a great question.
Yes.
So the YMCA, if people don't know, is actually, we are a 501c3 charity. So
Okay.
what that means is we are in our community to serve the needs of the community. So all the money that's raised through the YMCA Easter House is used to provide scholarships to allow people that otherwise wouldn't be afford to participate in YMCA programs and services
All right.
the opportunity to be a part of the Y, to participate in swim lessons, to go to preschool, to go to summer camp. It allows seniors the freedom to come and make friends and further their health.
Wow.
Allows families to become healthy together.
Right. And the Youth in Government program through South Fork High School
Yes.
is sponsored by the Y.
Yes, Youth in Government is a program of the YMCA. We also provide scholarships for students that otherwise wouldn't be afford to participate in Youth in Government scholarships so that they can participate in Youth in Government.
Yeah, and that's no small price tag
It
because
isn't.
there's a lot of active
those are real
students.
hard costs for, moving the kids around the state.
Yeah, and they go all the way from here to Tallahassee.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and more than one school bus is generally procured for such a for
Right.
the venture, right?
And because it's a YMCA program, the school board doesn't provide the school buses, so we have to reserve, the motor coaches for the kids.
Wow.
So
Yeah. So
that's a real cost that we have to
yeah, those are
underwrite
hard numbers,
because-
right?
Yeah. For those students, but it's really a great program. It's teaching our future leaders of our country to debate issues, not people. To be
Right.
able to reach across the aisle and come to a consensus that's best for everyone.
Well, I think the cool thing is that some of the students, they actually try to draft and create their own legislation. And if it passes through the mock legislature, they will actually put some of these bills in front of the Florida State House and Senate.
Yes.
And if they're good enough, they'll pass, and then the governor will sign the very same bill into law. And I know there's a couple of the swinging out stop sign that comes out from the school bus. That was a product of the Youth in Government program.
I know. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, and that's just one example. I know there are others.
Right.
But,
Right. That's
but-
right.
yeah. So if you win the house and
Yes.
for reasons, you're just not available to take possession of the house.
Right. You already have a house. What's
right.
wrong with another house?
Right.
Well,
So,
good news.
Yeah, but wait, there's more, right?
But wait, there's more. Good
yeah,
news.
right.
If you don't want to take the house, we have a cash prize of $110,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Not too bad. And if you do take possession of the house, you're responsible for the taxes,
That's right.
Right, and that's it.
And that's it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad, and so $110,000
Yeah.
for a $10 investment, basically.
Right.
So
Better odds than Powerball.
and Mike made a good point. He says, you can actually for $30 you can triple your odds, basically.
That's right.
So I thought that was a really good point that Mike made this morning, and so and you can go online, you can just buy the I call the fun pack of $30 investment, right?
Right.
And
right.
and you can either win the house, you can win the Harley.
Right.
Whoa, it's a
Or the $2,500.
$2,500 cash.
Right.
And yeah. And that's great. Well, and you've got a bunch of tickets sold so far, but we still got 2 more weeks. We can sell more, and the more tickets raised, the more students we could send to Tallahassee.
That's right. That's right. Actually, 2 weeks and 15 minutes we'll be doing the drawing.
Very cool. And so folks can come and listen or visit with you directly at the house, and the address again is
14775 Southwest Cherokee Drive.
Okay. And the house will be open over the weekend or just tomorrow only?
No, it'll be open. We're actually open for tours on Fridays from 11 to 4, Saturday and Sunday from 10:30 to 5.
Okay.
And Mondays from 11 to 4 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's
Well,
right.
very good. Well, I appreciate you calling in and keeping our listeners up to speed as to this year's Easter house, and I wish you great success with that, and I look forward to visiting with you next year.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
All righty. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. So that was Charlene Lyons from the YMCA Easter House, and we are now joined by Lee Gross. How you doing, Lee?
I'm good, Frank. How are you?
Good, buddy. Yeah. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm a little bit
Yeah,
late,
it's all right.
no,
Well, we had
not
the
too bad.
interview, so it all dovetailed nicely.
Yep.
So I thought that was pretty timely that the Easter House helps to finance the Youth and Government program, and so I thought that was a kind of a neat thing to get Charlene Lyons on the air here, and so our listeners could know why we do what we do here on the radio with the Youth and Government, and that it's a community-based program.
Yeah.
Everybody rolls up their sleeves, gets involved.
Yeah, it's a Y sponsored program. So
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's so deep in the communities,
Yeah.
because it's tied through the Y.
Exactly. Yeah. So bad news coming out of South Florida again.
Yeah, I heard on the way out, because the reason I'm late is because I was getting my tires realigned.
Oh.
So, and it took way longer than I expected it to. But right on the way out to get that done, I heard about the bridge collapse at FIU.
Yeah. Yes.
No fatalities, but a lot of injuries.
Yeah. No, there probably are. They don't know. They don't know how many. There are still some cars that have been pancaked under the bridge, and so they are doing the search and rescue at this point.
It was a new bridge too.
It was still under construction.
Still under construction.
In fact, there are 8 people that were collected and transported to the hospital, and I believe 2 of which there was a number, I forget, I think it was 2 that were actually workers that were found on top of the rubble, and they were among the 8 that were taken to the hospital.
Yeah.
And so can you imagine so that road will be closed for quite some time, according to the
It's going to be interesting to see what was wrong with the bridge that made it collapse.
Yeah,
because you can't say stress, you can't say age, so something design wise had to happen, or construction, one of the two.
Yeah.
Either how it was drawn up or how it was put in.
Well, right now they don't even want to address those issues.
Oh, yeah, no.
Well, of course, the press were pressing them for the kind of. They said, no, look at.
No one's going to have them.
We're on search and rescue right now.
Yeah.
And we're concerned about the lives that have been directly impacted by this tragic event, and we're going to work on that issue. And once we've got everybody collected that we could find, and remove the debris, then we will start figuring out what happened and why it happened. And so that makes sense. Yeah. But it's, who knows? Under construction, things are never secure until they're completed. So that's always an issue when especially bridges. I watched the new Roosevelt Bridge, when it was constructed in '94. I watched that happen. And it was segment by segment, and it's head scratching watching it, because you see like this bridge spanning and just nothing, it just waiting for the next piece to be connected, and so it's just a lot of open stuff, and so you wonder how stable, how structurally strong it's not really structurally, durable until
you get all the pieces in place.
It's all integrated and tightened up. And a lot of people don't know this, but you can actually, through the and inside the bridge, they actually have tunnel areas where they drive and do inspections. They have like carts.
Really?
Yeah, they drive through there, and there's steel cables, and that's where they're inspecting, and it's all connecting all the modular pieces that construct that bridge. So it's just fascinating how that all gets, it's all tinker-toyed, connected, and then they string it together with these heavy cables, and of course cinch that tight, but they have to inspect them all the time and make sure.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, that's good. At least they're inspecting them all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, and it was designed so that they can easily do that and not obstruct any of the.
It's perfect. You don't
traffic.
have to close the bridge to inspect it. That's
right.
perfect.
Right, and they're doing it from the inside.
That's fantastic foresight.
Right.
That's what that is.
Brilliant. Yeah. Yeah. Good engineering.
Oh yeah.
So. This was a pedestrian bridge, but a lot of concrete involved in creating this because it spanned a fairly long area. So we'll see what happens. We'll know more, I guess, maybe.
Probably tomorrow. We'll know more.
Perhaps
by
tomorrow.
then, search and rescue is probably going to have most of their job done.
Right. So have you been following anything to do with the news?
Oh, I have. All right.
So what do you want to talk about?
Okay, so I know it's old news that Rex Tillerson's been fired or he's on the way out. I know that's old news, but what I thought was really interesting was the CIA leadership.
Yes.
In light of that, with Pompeo moving up to take his place, most likely,
Mm-hmm.
and then Gina Haspel coming up behind him.
Yeah, and Gina, she's in. I think Pompeo will have very little trouble.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He won't have any trouble. I mean, he's not
right.
experienced as a diplomat, but then again, Tillerson's qualification was that he was a global CEO.
Right.
That was his qualification. That's literally it.
Right.
But and I know people's argument against Pompeo is that he's a yes man, and I'm like, yeah, but
he's
that's to a point. That's his job, is to be the yes man for the president, because they're supposed to be on the same page.
State Department is supposed to execute the wishes of the executive branch. Yeah.
They're not their own thought process. They take orders and they do what they got to do.
That was the problem, as I understand it.
That was
Rex Tillerson.
He thought differently than Trump did.
Right. He had to, And here's the thing: Tillerson is a self-starter, right? He managed a major corporation, global corporation.
Yeah, he's probably used to.
And he's used to being right. So he's used to being the decision maker. But he actually had a secondary position, so he actually had to take his marching orders from somebody else. So I think when you have two alpha males,
one of them, and then the fact that he went over his head, and he kind of did leave Tillerson in the water on the whole North Korea summit agreement. That I'm not even going to fault Tillerson. Tillerson's the guy that got victimized from that. Right. But
so that it just speaks to the fact that they were uncomfortable talking to each other, and you have that is a relationship that requires good communication.
Yeah, you have to communicate.
Right. Yes.
And the thing is, Pompeo and Trump have a great relationship.
Exactly.
So while Pompeo's not the best diplomat,
We don't know yet.
You don't know how someone's going to react to it because he has no experience in it,
right.
so we don't know how he is.
When Ambassador Haley was first announced to the UN,
people thought she'd be pretty terrible, but she's not.
She's turned out to be a rock star.
Yeah, she's very good in the global stage.
Right.
And then with the CIA,
right.
I remember Tom Cotton was the favorite to lead the CIA after this whole change took place.
Okay.
When it was figured out a few months ago, but now you can't, and it makes sense for him to promote within because she was deputy director. He kind of did have to promote her rather than bring Cotton in because Cotton's another one of his supporters.
And she's, to be fair, she has earned the position.
She has, right? She has. It's not putting anything past
promoted,
her.
Right. She's being promoted from within. She's the number 2. Mm-hmm. And it just makes sense to elevate the number 2 to the number 1 position.
Yep.
She's got the skill set. She can hit the ground running. She doesn't have to go through a learning curve.
Which Cotton would.
Yes.
Yeah. And the thing is...
And even Pompeo mentioned that it was a very, it was... To come up to speed, it took some time.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good upside.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have to do that.
Right. And that is, with all the things going on in the world right now, you don't want to skip a beat as far as paying attention to what's going on with all the other players in the world.
Especially considering they just put sanctions on Russia. You hear about that? Trump just announced Russia sanctions.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
I think that's interesting, but actually one more thing on the Genius Bell thing. I haven't read much into this, but I thought it was very interesting how their argument against her is the torture camp.
Right. So
I thought that was
intriguing. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that when we come back.
Yeah.
I have some specific thoughts about that. So let's bring that up when
we
come back.
Can bring that up later after the break.
Because, there's some there are people that are always going to be naysayers.
Yeah. There always is. Especially today.
Right.
Especially
today. So we'll talk about that when we come back.
That sounds good.
We have some profound thoughts we want to share with you. So stay tuned. And now it's time for today's Southeast AgNet Report, brought to you by Everglades Farm Equipment, a family-owned business for the past 50 years with 10 Florida locations, including Fort Pierce, Okeechobee, and Loxahatchee. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to the Treasure Coast Forum. I'm Lee. I'm here with Frank again, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
We do indeed. Okay, so before we went on break, we were talking about the lady who is
Gina Hespel. Yep.
Gina Hespel, right?
I'm never going to be able to pronounce that name correctly. Let's be honest.
Well, all right. So, but she's been elevated from this number 2 position at the CIA to the number 1 position, but that requires Senate approval.
Yep. Unlike the deputy director position, which does not.
Right. And so here we go. So the under her leadership, under previous presidents, when it was legal to do waterboarding and some of the things that
other methods information.
Right, to extract information from bad guys. We got to remember, these are bad guys. These are terrorists, people that wanted to do bad things to you and me, right? So they were trying to extract information to try to make us safer, and in fact, through some of the methodology that was employed, that's how they were able to thwart many events before they happened. All right, because there's some people in Guantanamo that are still there. They were, anyways.
Yeah.
So this being said, so this was done in what they call black sites, off country sites, and
I believe the one in question is in Vietnam, or was. There was speculation.
I don't know. I don't know where it was. I honestly don't. But the point being is that she was the part of the oversight. And so we want to reiterate legal. It was court approved. It was all. This was the best thinking of the day at that time. All she was doing was executing orders given by superiors. Okay, so why she would be held responsible for things that were she did that was appropriate for the time, deemed necessary. I don't have a problem with what she did.
If it was legal at the time, I don't think anybody should.
Right, but they're using 20/20 hindsight. They're saying, well, we're more touchy-feely now. We really don't want to. We don't want to hurt anybody. We just want them to feed them milk and cookies, and hopefully they'll give us the right information, or words to that effect, right? So the problem is you cannot grade somebody yesterday
based off today's service. Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, because maybe the thinking has evolved, whatever, but it's a different mindset today.
Or maybe there's people that think that this was recent that they did this, even though
it wasn't.
How long ago was this?
This was done. This is during the
I know it was
War.
years ago.
Iraq and Iran.
Because I know she was deputy director for a year and a half.
Yes, Iraq.
So definitely a few years.
Right,
and that was long before waterboarding was illegal.
This is under the George Bush administration.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Long before it was made illegal.
Right. And so the Supreme Court said it was perfectly fine, right? And I don't think it was ever made illegal. It just deemed as they made a policy change.
Which still wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago.
They made a policy change in recent years, and the policy change says, we're just going to go about this a different way, all right? But the Supreme Court upheld and said it was fine. What they did was appropriate, and it was sanctioned. So, anyways, but this is the black mark against what otherwise would be still considered a stellar career of a dedicated CIA employee doing the difficult job. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They can't tell you what they do, and that's okay with me. As long as the proper oversight, people know what they're doing, everything's good.
Yeah, as long as it's sanctioned and it was obviously legal at the time.
Right.
I mean, whatever moral opposition you have to that, that doesn't really apply when you go up against the fact
because
of law.
When you don't, you're talking about theory and and all that, but when you have boots on the ground, people that have to make decisions.
When people are making decisions based off the circumstances,
right,
and that you don't know, then
So this is 2020 in hindsight. It's always very, very difficult to analyze. But anyway, so that's my take on the Gina Hespel appointment. I think she's certainly earned the position. I think the Senate should confirm her, and I don't believe it's appropriate to give her a hard time over it. But I know the Democrats on the committee will. Yes, and I think that's really a shame because we're all Americans first.
Party second.
Right, and their job is to just keep us safe within the bounds of the rules that are prescribed, and she did that. So I don't get it. I just don't get it. But anyways,
people are going to find a way to finger point.
Right.
People will always find a way.
So what else?
Well, on a lighter note,
NFL
free agency opened up.
Yeah,
and there have been so many crazy moves.
Right. Are you following the March Madness too?
Not really.
Okay.
Actually, I haven't been able to really keep up with that, but NFL free agency I've been on top of.
All right, so what's going on with that?
Cleveland. And those of you that watch the NFL,
Cleveland Browns, I've heard of them.
Trash, but they're owning free agency right now. They're doing really well. They've signed Tyrod Taylor. They got him in a trade.
Yeah.
So they have a pretty good caliber quarterback considering the play of the league.
Right.
They've got him. They've got a great weapon in Jarvis Landry, who they picked up when they traded with the Dolphins to get him. I think they signed San Fran. They signed Carlos Hyde from San Francisco.
All right.
So all of a sudden they went from nothing to looking pretty great.
You've heard of the Las Vegas betting, right?
Yes, I've heard of it.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
So there is a line that people can bet on. When will the Browns win their next game?
Next season. They're gonna win the next season.
You think so?
But if they can go like 8-8, that's what I'm thinking. They'll probably.
Do you think they won their first game?
Depends on who the first game is, because they could get matched up against New England the first game. They're not going to win that. But I'd give them a pretty good chance of winning it, or at least a better one than what I would have given them.
Anyways, there's a betting pool starting.
I could believe that
on when will they win their first game.
I think before week 4 they'll have a win.
All right.
I think with that kind of team they can win that. Wow. They'll pick up some offensive players in the draft. They'll bolster their defense a little bit more because a few of them have left.
Right.
And Joe Thomas retired. 11 seasons, 10 Pro Bowls, and if he hadn't been injured for half of the season this year, he would have made an 11th.
Wow.
Yeah. So he retired, and they're doing really well. And then San Francisco's doing fantastic in free agency. They're picking everybody.
What was their win-loss record last season?
They managed to go, I think it was 6-10 when they had one win, and they went on like a 5-game streak.
Wow.
Through the end. And now they've got Garoppolo. They have their quarterback of the franchise. They've got, I forgot who they picked up. They picked up a good running back. Because Carlos Hyde left, and I forgot. They picked somebody else up. They've got a pretty good receiver core, a lot of good rookies in place, so they can build off that. I think they've had a couple signings. There are a couple more people that are interested. They've been signing defense, I'm pretty sure. And just overall, they're doing well. They're doing really well, and they're looking really good this season.
All right.
For them, Miami's doing the usual let's let everybody walk because that's a great idea.
Okay. Is it because Miami doesn't want to have the payroll?
I mean, that's probably the logic. Yeah. They just released Ndamukong Suh because they didn't want to pay the $23 million or something. They some ludicrous amount of money.
All right.
But they're letting everybody walk. I mean, you have to stop. Because all the great players, all the big names on free agency are already leaving. They're already coming off. Like all the quarterbacks in the first wave have been signed. Cousins to Minnesota, Keenum to Denver, Bridgewater to the Jets, Bradford to the Cardinals. Who else? Josh McCown got re-signed for the Jets, so they have 2 guys now. Uh, yeah, about it.
Wow.
Drew Brees got re-signed, or he's gonna get re-signed. So
wow.
yeah.
Wow.
It's just crazy, and it's so much fun to look at because it's just like, oof, I can't wait for the draft. it just excites me.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see if politics will raise its ugly head
because
in the NFL. Because
we don't want to sign people who kneeled for the anthem.
Yeah. So that'll be an interesting. It's unfortunate because it would be nice just to talk the wins and losses of sports and not get the politics into it.
Yeah.
But so it'll be interesting to see if 2018, the season of 2018, will just pick up where 2017 left off, or maybe it might be a different approach. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And we've got just a few minutes to talk when we get back. So stay tuned. And if you have any questions, give us a call here at 220-9788.
right, welcome back. We're in the home stretch.
Yeah, we are.
And we've got some pretty interesting facts. I didn't know.
Some interesting things this day in history. In the year 1820, on this date, Maine became the 23rd state of the Union. And on 1892, in New York State, voting machines were first authorized for use in elections.
Wait, 1892?
1892.
Wow. I worked on one last year, and I still didn't know they were that old. I still didn't know their use was that old.
Yep. And but I think they were built in the U.S. They were not made in Russia.
In Russia.
That would have been kind of interesting, huh? All right. And let's see now. And in 1916 on this date, U.S. troops under General John J. Pershing, all right, crossed the Mexican border in pursuit of Pancho Villa.
Wow.
Oh yeah. He was a bad guy. He was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. So he said, "All right, we got."
All right. I mean, if we can't catch you, we'll just hunt you down.
You understand why they named the Pershing missile after General Pershing. Because no matter where Pancho Villa went,
he was on his tail. He was the man that was tasked to hunt him down. Yeah,
he was. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. So there was a lot of thought went into the name of that missile. Like, here's a little fun fact from history. We'll kind of bring that forward, and that kind of made sense. And in 1919, on this date, the American Legion was founded in Paris. Kind of an interesting backstory to that, too, I can share with you. It doesn't take that long. Shortly after World War I ended, the 20 officers of the American Expeditionary Forces met in Paris with orders to confer on how the Army could improve troop morale. Okay. One of the officers, Lieutenant Colonel Theodore Roosevelt Jr., son of President Theodore Roosevelt, suggested an idea that had already crossed many of the men's minds, which was an organization in which veterans could stay in touch and help each other and work together after the fighting was over. The officers wasted no time in putting the idea into action, and on March 15, 1919, about 1,000 U.S. soldiers gathered in Paris for the very first meeting of the American Legion. You would think that would have been on domestic soil, but yeah, Paris, I guess, if you're going to do it, Paris is an okay place,
when
right?
was it? When was the first meeting?
March 15, 1919.
1919. Then they were probably all still getting ready to leave. So
they were probably all still
there. Yeah, they were all probably still there.
Oh,
so
that
they're
makes
like,
sense.
let's just meet here.
Yeah, why not, right? Yeah, it's probably where they have all the champagne anyway.
True enough.
Yeah.
And I mean, what are the French going to do? Say no.
And today, the Legion is the nation's largest veterans organization with about 2.6 million members. Men and women may join if they have served honorably in the U.S. Armed Forces during times of hostilities such as World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam War, Persian Gulf War, and the Iraq War. The Legion's purpose was partly to help veterans continue friendships formed during the military service. It also gives members a way to keep serving their country. The American Legion has built parks and playgrounds, donated equipment to hospitals and fire halls, sponsored Boy Scout troops, youth baseball leagues, promoted the study of the Constitution in schools, and much, much more. For God and Country, the American Legion's motto, the organization has 14,000 posts worldwide, and there's probably one near you, and your community is almost certainly a better place for it. How about that? So that's just
those
a little.
And Veterans Forum Wars.
Yes.
Those two groups, it's the big ones in the community.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. So that's just kind of interesting stuff. My computer is taking its time populating the page right now, but there's some other interesting things that took place this day in history way back when, but my computer doesn't want to. I have to refresh the page. Maybe that'll help. Maybe not. Who knows? So everything's okay in school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm getting ready for a lot of trips.
Yeah.
I have the bedding we're going up to Fort Benning.
Fort Benning, yeah, Georgia.
A few of us, about 40, I think like 40, about 40 of us are going up from our battalion.
Okay.
We're going to take a tour of the base, and then we're going to go up to Six Flags.
Oh, yeah, in Atlanta. Mm-hmm.
And then we come back a few weeks later. I have State Assembly, which, funnily enough, I completely forgot is actually from a Wednesday all the way to a Saturday. It's actually a day longer this year.
Wow.
Completely forgot about that.
Wow.
So, pleasant surprise.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we got about 3.5 minutes. And I just want to tell you also on this day in history, a gentleman, this is a Florida history now. In 1895, a gentleman by the name of Bone Mizell, he was the famed cowboy of Florida. He appeared before a judge for altering cattle brands. That is a bad thing to do. And let's see now, in 1903, the British complete the conquest of Nigeria. And in 1904, 300 Russians are killed as the Japanese shell Port Arthur in Korea. Interesting, 1904. And in 1909, Italy proposes a European conference on the Balkans. 1909. And in 1934, on this date, Henry Ford restores the $5 a day wage. How about that? So, interesting stuff happened on this day in history. Wow, how cool is that, huh? The 1955 on this date, the U.S. Air Force unveils its very first guided missile. Let's see, I keep an eye on the clock here. Christopher Columbus returned to Spain on this date after his first voyage to the New World in 1493. How about that? And on the year 44, not a good day to be Julius Caesar. He was assassinated on this date by high-ranking Roman senators. So,
I believe it was in the Senate chambers as well that he was assassinated.
Probably so.
If I remember reading it correctly.
Yeah. So, yeah, tough day to be Julius Caesar.
Tough day. I mean, after you violate Roman law.
Yeah, Roman senators. They were, swift in their condemnation, I guess. Wow. Yeah. So that was this day in history.
A famed end.
Yes. Yeah, I'll say. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, Lee. I appreciate you coming in there, and even on your school break, and shows that you're dedicated, and we appreciate that very much, and look forward to seeing you after your return from Fort Benning, Georgia, and all your other activities right here on Treasure Coast Forum.
All right,
Good night. All right, take care.